Out front tonight, Trump tapping yet another television personality to join his administration, this time Dr. Mehmet Oz. Trump naming the TV doctor to oversee Medicare and Medicaid for more than 160 million Americans. Now, Oz, of course, is a household name. He does not have experience, though, running any sort of a large government bureaucracy or institution of any way. So why did Trump choose him?
My friend, Dr. Mehmet Oz, he's a great man. Dr. Oz, I've known him a long time. His show is great. He's on that screen. He's in the bedrooms of all those women, telling them good and bad, and they love him.
Straight from Central Casting, Dr. Oz. And he's not the only one. Trump's stacking his administration with people that he believes look the part. He's already named Fox host Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, Fox host Sean Duffy for Transportation Secretary. And none of that is a surprise in this context because Trump does put a premium on having what he sees as the look.
Ooh, he's a handsome dude. Is that good? This guy's Central Casting.
We'll take him. He is perfect. He's Central Casting. He's going to be a great one.
We have the great Tom Homan, Central Casting, right?
Central Casting, Central Casting, Central Casting. He says it himself. It's clear. Tom Homan, the last name he mentioned, is now Trump's border czar. But when it comes to Oz, he may look the part, but he did lose Pennsylvania's Senate race in 2022, in part because of a number of controversial and downright odd remarks. For example, the medical research that he conducted that had resulted in the deaths of animals, Democrats seized on that.
Mehmet Oz ran experiments on puppies, killing over 300 dogs. They were subjected to extreme suffering.
Now, Oz says that he did not abuse any animals. During the pandemic, he talked up the benefits of hydroxychloroquine as a treatment for COVID-19.
A small study that shows statistical significance is a really important observation.
Now, the FDA says hydroxychloroquine is unlikely to be an effective treatment for COVID-19. And in this era that we are in, if you happen to doubt the FDA, the Mayo Clinic says it is not recommended for a COVID treatment and notes that studies have shown people who take it are more likely to suffer from heart problems, on top of the fact that it doesn't effectively treat COVID. And then there are the weird things that Oz said. He was on a radio show and was asked about whether it's okay to have sex with a cousin.
If you're more than a first cousin away, it's not a big problem. Every family has genetic strengths and weaknesses. And so the reason we naturally crave people who are not so like us is because you just have to mix the gene pool up a little bit.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying, some odd things. And the reality of it is, though, for Trump, it comes down to central casting, central casting, central casting. And that's where we get to Elon Musk, who, of course, has been spending so much time with Trump. Today, welcoming the president-elect to Texas to watch the billionaire entrepreneur launch what is the world's largest and most powerful rocket ever built. And what this liftoff gave, and by the way, this is something to celebrate. This is American ingenuity at its best. But what it did today was to give Musk another photo op with the president-elect. And by the way, I mean, look at them there today. If you go on Musk's Twitter account, which it's impossible to avoid because everybody's algorithm is fed with a lot of Elon Musk all day, is filled with pictures of him and Trump from election night. To photos with his family, photos with members of Congress. Most recently, Musk appearing with Trump on a plane to New York with Trump and RFK Jr. They were together at Madison Square Garden. There again, sitting ringside with Trump at that UFC championship. And basically, it's come down to this. If there's a picture of Trump, Musk is not far behind, and the world is taking notice. I mean, look at some of these headlines. President Elon Musk. America elected Donald Trump, and it turns out Elon Musk, too. Elon Musk is America's shadow president. Elon Musk set stage to act as Trump's co-president. Elon Musk has a new project, run Trump's government. And the French president, Emmanuel Macron, is expected to invite Trump to visit, right? But guess what else? He's inviting Trump and Musk to come to Paris for a summit. Brazil's first lady took on Musk, using an expletive to the billionaire during a panel on disinformation, putting it on him. All right, we have a lot to cover. Kristen Holmes is out front. She's live in West Palm Beach to begin our coverage. Kristen, you have some new reporting tonight on another major Trump administration announcement. What are you learning right now?
Well, Erin, we were told we finally might get that announcement of who is going to be Treasury Secretary. I am told it is expected to come as early as tomorrow. Now, just a reminder and a caveat, we were told this was coming last Friday. However, this has been an ongoing issue because of what was going on behind the scenes. Donald Trump had been set to pick hedge fund manager Scott Bessent when Howard Lutnick, the co-chair of the transition, inserted himself into the mix, saying that he wanted to be Secretary of Treasury. This caused a lot of headaches for the people on the transition team. One, Lutnick and Trump have had a relationship for a very long time, but we are also told it started somewhat of a knife fight between the two of them, with really Howard Lutnick as the only one wielding a knife. It actually annoyed people on the transition team. It even annoyed Donald Trump, we were told by a number of people he spoke to about it, and caused him to open up the field. So I want to show you who we believe the 4 finalists to be at this time. Scott Bessent still in the mix here. We also have Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty. We have Kevin Warsh, who was a former Federal Reserve governor, and billionaire Mark Rowan. I am told that all of them have met with Trump and or the transition team, that all the interviews are done, and tomorrow is going to be the time they have these long discussions with the hope of getting Secretary of Treasury out of the gate by tomorrow night. Now, again, of course, anything can happen in Trump world, but that is the goal right now. Remember, this was one of the ones they wanted to get out first because Donald Trump has made so many promises that are contingent on the economy, and they wanted somebody to be the face of all that. And just a reminder, the reason why they feel they can move forward, I don't know if I mentioned this, is because Lutnick was named Secretary of Commerce today, getting him out of the way, paving the way for this to actually happen.
Yeah, so many moves, and important there it is because there has been so much infighting and backstabbing, as you have been reporting in such detail. Kristen, thank you so much, and everyone's here with me. So Lulu, all right, let's just, it's hard to get through all of this because there's so much happening, but let's just start with Dr. Oz. He is going to be overseeing an agency that directly affects 160 million Americans. So, look, take a step back. There's a lot of people who get put into these jobs who haven't overseen much, right? So I'm not going to say the fact that he hasn't overseen something that large is disqualifying in and of itself. But the history here is relevant.
The history is relevant. When I was listening right now, I thought that what was going to be announced was Dr. Phil was going to be the Surgeon General. So at least we're not there yet. But listen, what is happening here is this. We are now in Donald Trump's TV show. And, you know, this is the world we're living in now. He is casting the characters that he wants to play in his administration. And the point behind this is actually a serious one. They're not just good-looking people. They're very effective communicators who actually are recognizable to the American public. If you think about why Donald Trump thinks he won this election, it's because he was able to have a consistent message. People listen to him. He is recognizable, and he was palling around with people like Elon Musk. He is putting people in these positions that people know and that can sell his policies. So whatever he does, there are going to be people who are able to go out into the manosphere, into podcasts, on cable news, and talk about it in a way that people will relate to. And I think that's what he's up to.
So people will relate to, Max, can we talk about RFK Jr.? Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker, says he's got concerns about RFK Jr. I'm sure related to his, past history of deep vaccine skepticism and, inaccurate pushing of the disproven theory that autisms and vaccines are linked. But Cory Booker does not rule out supporting RFK Jr., okay? And he praises his views on healthy eating. Now, obviously, this weekend we saw RFK on the plane. And, I say this partly chuckling because he's got this, grimace on his face. If you actually zoom in on him, he looks absolutely horrified. Speaker Johnson did say he ate it. But Senator Booker's point of view, though, Max, is actually a serious one. And that is lifelong Democrat RFK Jr. has done a lot for the environment, has also this very serious issues with things like vaccines. But yet you've got Booker saying, I can see my way to approving this. Are a lot of Democrats going to follow suit?
Well, I think you're seeing some positive comments about RFK, interestingly enough, from Democrats, because, of course, many of them are looking for bipartisan moments. RFK is facing an incredible amount of opposition from the pro-life community. Mike Pence issued really harsh
because he's pro-choice.
Because he's pro-choice. But I really see the Democratic opposition centering around Matt Gaetz for very obvious reasons in terms of his criminal past and his absence of any moral code, but also the proposed Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, and the larger goals for the Defense Department, that they want to establish a purity test for all four-star generals, where they need to basically become political appointees and submit their loyalty to Donald Trump.
Right,
not
the
to
purity
the
being your loyalty to the president.
Absolutely, which would be not only really harmful to our national security, but also just a complete retraction from any way that we've ever conducted ourselves at that level. So that is my hope, that the party focuses on their opposition to that.
Governor Pawlenty, is there any one of these nominees that the Republicans shoot down when it actually comes to a vote?
I would be surprised if Matt Gaetz gets confirmed and becomes a secretary as proposed. I just don't think he's going to get through the process. I'm not even sure he's going to make it to the hearings based on the amount of stuff that's coming out by the day. So if I had to highlight one that's going to take a knee, it would be him.